Novac is one of the most visually iconic locations in Fallout New Vegas. Everyone who has played New Vegas can recognize this place just by looking at it. It also features a few really unique and engaging quests. However, some modders thought they could add a bit more to this little town. Today, I'm taking a look at every single Novac Overhaul mod for New Vegas. So, without any further delay, let's get started. Starting things off with a pretty interesting one. Novac Crash Site imagines an alternate scenario where the B-29 crashes in Novac and the NCR deploys a damage control unit to the town. You can now see NCR soldiers roaming around, and a few vertebrates can also be spotted here and there. However, I don't know why they are using Enclave vertebrates. That brings me to the problem with this mod. It might have a really interesting idea, but the execution is all wrong. There are misplaced assets all over the place, T-posing skeletons, floating objects, and much more. I'm not gonna lie, I would really like to see more of these alternate scenario mods, but the mod also needs to be functional, which this one isn't. Novac Reborn, on the other hand, is a much more traditional overhaul mod. Firstly, the entire Novac area is now surrounded by metal walls and a main gate. The mod also tries to make Novac look a bit more vibrant by adding greenery in some areas. It adds interiors to a few pre-existing houses and even introduces completely new houses. A few NPCs have been added by this mod as well, and one of them even gives you a quest. The quest isn't anything too special, but it's fine. I'd say if you're looking for a traditional overhaul mod, go with this one. Novac Redone adds a lot of things, but most of it either doesn't make sense or just doesn't fit into New Vegas. To start, there's now a small casino in one of the bungalows, complete with dancers and everything. I don't really know what the hell this kid wearing Benny's clothes is doing here. There's also another kid on the far side of town sitting on a skull throne. Almost all the characters in this mod are like this, and the audio quality is really bad too.
Yeah, I did see a couple of shady looking fellows in baseball gear run out of town. Didn't see much. McDick might know.
This mod also adds a new companion, but he's as generic as it gets. There are also 3 quests, but they're pretty small and nothing special. I could go on and on about how weird this mod is, but I think you get the idea, so I'd say if you're looking for an unhinged Novac mod, then this is the best one for you. But if not, there's no reason to download it. Novac City tries to turn Novac into a full-blown city, and it does so by adding a lot of clutter, structures, and buildings. None of these buildings have interiors, and some of them don't even make sense, like, why is there a shooting range beside this barn? And let's imagine some people are using the barn as their base, then where are they? The only new NPCs are found near the railway tracks, and they're just standing there doing nothing. So I'd say no matter what type of player you are, you can skip this one. Novac, a Wasteland Oasis tries to turn Novac into an oasis. There are now so many trees of various kinds all over the area. There are also 2 pools of water, and you can even see NPCs sitting around them. However, there are some problems, like this weird bug where you get woozy even without doing anything. I fixed that problem by waiting for a few hours, but every time I restarted the game, it happened again. I'd say if you want to make Novac really bright and fresh, you might like it, but the issues I mentioned keep me from recommending it to anyone. Novac Reopened, on the other hand, doesn't do anything to the outside, and instead focuses entirely on the interiors. All of the motel rooms are now accessible. Some are just normal rooms like the ones in the base game, but some are pretty unique, like one with 2 bandits and another with messed up furniture. A few houses and the gas station are also made accessible. I definitely recommend it, as it does what it promises without bugging out the game and also fits perfectly into it. Speaking of fitting in, Novac Overhaul definitely doesn't fit into the game. It replaces in-game NPCs with their so-called high-quality versions, but you can easily tell that these models don't fit into the style of the game at all. And it's not just the faces, but also their attire, like how Dr. Ada looks like a girl on vacation or something. And even if you like these models, it doesn't matter, as although characters like the bodyguards got updated models, my man Boone still looks the same. Personally, I wouldn't use this mod, but if you actually want updated models for characters, then I highly recommend Character Kit Remake. That mod updates the character models without transforming them into someone else. Novac Overhaul and Gunrunner's Emporium is a pretty decent mod with some rough edges here and there. The gas station has now been turned into a gunrunner shop with a new interior and everything. There's also a new police station in town, which also has an interior and a sewer system, which is actually a futuristic bunker. I think you've already noticed how this mod adds these colorful lights to all interiors, which looks good in some places and not so good in others. But by far what impressed me the most was how it decorated every NPC's room in the motel based on their personality or occupation. For example, Cliff's room is full of toys, while you can see bottles of alcohol inside Boone's room, and even blood in the washroom. The exterior of Novac has also gotten some attention, but these are mostly small things. Novac Redux is decent, but nothing special. It adds metal walls and guard stations throughout Novac. It also adds a few generic NPCs, mostly settlers and scavengers. Along with that, it also adds a few tents and other small structures. I'd say this is a decent mod to use alongside the Novac Reopened mod, but on its own, it's nothing special. Novac Cleaned and Restored tries to make it look more pristine. It mostly does this by adding the black roads from the strip, adding a pawn shop, which I'm pretty sure is the same one from Westside, an ultra-luxe fountain, and a weird-looking diner, among other things. There's not much for me to say really. It's pretty bare bones and mostly adds things from other places that have no reason to be in Novac. I don't recommend it. Ultimate Novac is also mostly unremarkable. It adds some unique-looking structures, but other than that, it's mostly boring. There are a few generic NPCs and a couple of generic robots and dogs. There's also a terminal where you can buy some crafting components and a medical clinic. I don't want to undermine what it does, but most of the things this mod adds are just done better by other mods. Barf's Novac Overhaul isn't too different either. However, there are cool little things here and there that make it stand out a bit more than some of the previous ones. Examples include a gate made out of cars at Lady Gibson's scrapyard or an open house. I'd say you can give this one a go, but I recommend pairing it with the Novac Reopened mod. Novac Enhanced feels like Novac Reborn, but worse. There's your general clutter all over the place, as you've all come to expect. The only eye-catching thing is this crashed plane, which looks pretty cool to be honest. There are also a few types of trees scattered around the area, but the mod is really poorly made in some places, like with this tree clipping inside a truck. I personally do not recommend it. And that brings me to the last mod in this video, my Novac. Sadly, we're going out with a whimper. There are some cool things, like the workbench and reloading bench outside Dino Bite, this small sign, and a small bar inside the lobby, but for the most part, it isn't anything special. This mod does decorate the player's room pretty well, but other than that, I don't see any reason to download it. And with that, I end this video. Personally, I'll only get the Novac Reopened mod from this list as I think base game Novac looks pretty decent. Let me know which area overhaul video you want to see next. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.